Hey, my puppies, this is Melody Fletcher, author of Deliberate Receiving. Finally, the universe makes some freaking sense. And today's burning question comes from Awesome Aiden, who's got a difficult one. I love your approach, and I feel very comfortable with the LOA and the worldview it represents. However, I have a neighbor whose 14-year-old son last year walked out in front of a van and died instantly by accident. I have another neighbor whose 2-year-old daughter, after 6 major operations, is close to being offered palliative care. She has cancer. What does the LOA say about such cases? If I speak to my neighbors about their children and the opportunity will come up, what can the LOA teach me that I may share with them that in some way may help them deal with such incomprehensible loss? Thanks for any understanding you can give on this difficult and very challenging subject. Now, Awesome Aiden, thank you so much for asking this question, allowing me to answer it. This is a really difficult one that a lot of people tend to shy away from because the answer isn't always easy to hear, and it's not an easy to answer question. And it's also not a fun question to ask or answer, but this is part of our life. Now, the first question I want to answer for you is, what can you do to make their pain better in some way? And the thing is, in the beginning, nothing at all. Yeah, there is no platitude or explanation that you can offer to somebody who has just lost their child or is in utter despair about their child's illness that will help them to feel better. I've coached several people through this process, and I can tell you that in the beginning, when you've just lost your child, there's absolutely nothing that anybody can say to make it better. People can make it worse by offering platitudes and by coming and trying to help, a lot of the time. And then the person who's grieving finds themselves in the trap of trying to cater to all the people who are trying to make their grief better. And all they're really doing in that moment is trying to soothe themselves. If you're grieving and I want to help you with your grief so that I can feel better, I'm not in a position of helping. Yeah? So if you really want to help, you have to put yourself into a higher vibrational state and then see what you're inspired to do. The things that you can do in the very beginning is you can offer to bring food, and you can offer to sit with them and just allow them to have their emotions. Don't try to make them feel better in that state. It isn't going to work, and it's just going to put more burden on them. It's going to be even more annoying to them. And again, it can actually then put them into the awkward position of trying to make you feel better, which means that they're now not dealing with their own grief. But I do want to answer your question about, why does this kind of thing happen? And as time passes, these kinds of things may or may not be helpful to these people. But I'm not really talking to them right now. I'm talking to you. And so here's my answer to why these things happen. And this makes us go a little bit further down the rabbit hole, because when we're talking about death, we have to talk about the idea that there really is no death. Consciousness never actually goes anywhere. Energy never ceases to exist. It simply transforms. It simply transitions. It goes into a different state. And so when we die, we are withdrawing our focus from our physical body, but who we really are very, very much continues on. And so this young person that died, they didn't die, and I want to make this very, very, very clear, because this is such a misconception for a lot of people who study the law of attraction and reality creation. This young person did not die as a punishment or because somebody did something wrong, because they were thinking bad thoughts or because their parents were thinking bad thoughts. That is not how that happens. You can't bad think yourself to death. Yeah? Every death only ever happens when it is the next logical manifestation on your personal path. That means that this person experienced all they needed and wanted to experience in this physical reality and continued their journey, their path, which is much, much, much greater than one physical life. They continued on that path and continued to manifest, and those manifestations were better served in the non-physical. They didn't actually go anywhere. In fact, the people who have transitioned into the non-physical are all around us, and we can connect with them and communicate with them anytime that we like, but we have to be in the right vibrational state. And that is not grief, and that is not despair, and that is not anger. It's actually a state of love. This is not something that somebody who has just lost their child is likely to be able to accomplish, but down the line they can. I've coached people that 2 months after their child's death, they were able to get into a state where they were able to get messages from their transitioned children. So it doesn't have to take years either, but please do not ask somebody who has just experienced that kind of loss to feel better. And a lot of times, like I said, we're trying to do that so that we can actually feel better, which is not a fair thing to do. You know, kind of own your own shit. So why do children get sick? So you said about this 2-year-old daughter, she has cancer, she's going through this experience, and this is going to be a very unsatisfying answer, and I get that. I'm going to try to smooth it out as much as I can. But there is value to be had in that kind of experience. And that is not saying the same thing as this 2-year-old wants to suffer, because clearly this 2-year-old does not want to suffer. But they have come in very courageously, very ambitiously, to work through some of our darkest belief systems on this earth and to help to shift those. And their entire family and everyone that has heard about it and is affected by it, including you, because you are affected by it, are part of that shifting. And there are, unfortunately, still some really sort of deep, dark energies on this earth. Not evil, not demons, and nothing that can encroach upon your reality if you're not a match to it. But they are there, and some really screwy beliefs about suffering that are being mirrored back to us through these wonderful, courageous souls. And so we need to honor them and support them with our energy and help to shift that energy, and not look at them as though, certainly not ever look at them as though they deserve it or they've done something wrong. Yeah, the only emotion that I can ever suggest that you bring up for any kinds of these situations is compassion. And true compassion does not include pity, because pity is a diminishing of that person's power. Do not diminish the person's power by saying you are somehow in a bad place, something has gone wrong for them. Compassion is simply an acceptance of the situation, sending them love, helping in what way you're inspired to do, and actually adding to their empowerment. And so what does that look like? That might look like you visiting somebody in the hospital, a friend, and simply helping them laugh instead of sitting there and lamenting with them about how crappy their situation is. And you wouldn't believe how much of a difference that can make. And when you're talking to people who are ill, a lot of the times they will tell you, yeah, not all of them, because it depends on where they are on their journey, but a lot of them will tell you, oh my God, thank you for just coming in and treating me like a human being, not like I'm sick, and laughing with me and gossiping with me and talking about something other than my illness so that I can focus on feeling better. It does bring them a lot of relief. But here's the thing, you can't really ever judge anybody else's journey, because you can't know anybody else's journey. I can't tell you precisely why this 2-year-old is going through this or why this 14-year-old is going through this. All I can give you is general answers, and those general answers can be highly unsatisfying depending on where you are. So hopefully this has been of benefit to you and to others who have manifested this video. But if it is not, then just understand that you can disregard this information and continue to search for the information that does help you feel better. This isn't going to be the answer for everybody, because not everybody is a vibrational match to it, and that's okay. So I hope I've answered your question. And if you think that this will be beneficial for others, please do share it on social media. I think this is important a message, and let the people who are ready to manifest it do so. If you have something to add to discussion, experiences of your own, if you've gone through this experience and have helpful tips for others, then please do leave a comment below, or come and join us at deliberatereceiving.com and join the discussion there. Thank you so much for your wonderful questions. This has been this week's Q&A, and I will see you next time. Bye.